My name is Joyce Iyakwari, and this is the Midday International News Desk for the 4th November 2021. Here are the headlines. U.S. predicts China could have 1,000 nuclear warheads by 2030. China counters Biden when he slams Xi's COP26 no-show. Indian homegrown COVID-19 shot wins WHO emergency use approval. Uncertainty thrives as the planet experiences climate emergency. Tigray Oromo forces pose greater threat to Ethiopia's federal government. Algeria blames Morocco for bombing of 3 truck drivers. And these are the details. The Pentagon said in a published report that China is increasing its nuclear arsenal much faster than expected, reducing the gap with the United States. In a report published on Wednesday, China might have 700 deliverable nuclear weapons by 2027 and could top 1,000 by 2030. An arsenal 2.5 times the size of what the Pentagon projected about a year ago. In comparison, the United States has about 3,750 nuclear weapons and has no intention to increase. As recently as 2003, the U.S. total was about 10,000. While China is advancing and increasing the number of its land, sea, and air-based nuclear delivery platforms and building infrastructure necessary to sustain this major development of its nuclear forces. Like the US and Russia, the 2 leading nuclear powers, China is building a nuclear triad with abilities to deliver nuclear weapons from land-based ballistic missiles, from missiles launched from the air and from submarines, China said. In a report, China said it is likely not seeking a competence to launch an unprovoked nuclear strike on a nuclear-armed adversary, but wanted to prevent attack from others by maintaining a reliable threat of nuclear appraisal. The Pentagon's China report said a year ago that the country had about 200 deliverable warheads and will double that by 2030. And independent researchers and in recent months published satellite photographs of new nuclear missile silos in western China. The Pentagon has declared China its major future security concern as Beijing undertakes to build the People's Liberation Army into world-class forces by 2049, based on its official plan. China is increasing the airspace and sea forces with the purpose of projecting its power worldwide, much as the U.S. military has for decades. The rivalry has increased concern about a probable clash between the U.S. and China, especially over Taiwan, which China claims as its territory, but which is closely reinforced by the U.S. The new U.S. report said China's swift military modernization aims to have the capability by 2027 to overcome any pushback to any effort to reclaim Taiwan by pressure or military force. By 2027, the report says China aims to have the capabilities to counter the U.S. military in the Indo-Pacific region and compel Taiwan's leadership to the negotiation table on Beijing terms. China on Wednesday countered the U.S. President Joe Biden following his criticism of President Xi Jinping's conclusion on the make-or-break COP26 United Nations Summit in Glasgow. Xi, who leads the planet's largest emitter of the greenhouse gases responsible for climate change, has not joined any other world leaders for COP26 and has not traveled outside of China since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. Biden on Tuesday has launched serious criticism of the Chinese and Russian leaders for not attending the summit. In a response, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbo responded on Wednesday, said action speaks louder than words. What we need in order to deal with the climate change is concrete action rather than empty words, he added. China's action in response to climate change are real. He also made a taunt at Washington by adding that the United States pulling out of the Paris Agreement under Biden's predecessor, Donald Trump, has damaged global change governance and the enactment of the accord. The comments came after Chinese senior envoy to the United Nations, Jian Yun, earlier said that addressing climate change will require more than empty slogans on changing policies, luxury motorcades, and crowded entourages. Speaking on the sideline of the climate change on Wednesday, Biden blamed China for not showing up despite wanting to be a world leader. On September 29, a health worker makes a dose of Covaxin vaccine against the COVID-19 coronavirus at a vaccination center in New Delhi. The WHO on Wednesday said that it has given approval for Indian drug maker Bharat Biotech's homegrown COVID-19 vaccine for emergency use listing, making a way for it to be received as a valid vaccine in several poor countries. The WHO tweeted that its technical advisory group has ruled that benefits of the shot known as Covaxin significantly outweighed the risks and that it met WHO standards for protection against COVID-19. The decision has been delayed as the advisory group wanted further clarification from Bharat Biotech before conducting a final risk-benefit evaluation for the vaccine's global use. WHO's Strategic Advisory Group of Experts on Immunization also endorsed Covaxin use in 2 doses with an interval of 4 weeks in age groups 18 and above. These recommendations are in line with the company's guidance. Covaxin was given emergency use authorization in India in January prior to the completion of its late-stage trial, which later found the shot to be 78% effective against severe COVID-19. Critics of decades of inaction of global warming and voiced deep skepticism as world leaders assemble in Glasgow to discuss critical deals to immediately reverse the intensifying climate disaster. Many activists query whether developed countries will largely move to rein in greenhouse gas emissions and the main corporations responsible for them, and if rich nations primarily accountable for the crisis will financially support poorer ones in the transformation away from fossil fuels. Scientists said the COP26 summit in Glasgow, Scotland is possibly the last chance to take grave actions to avert the most terrible scenarios facing the planet as temperatures continue to rise and extreme weather events become the norm. Bangladesh, a South Asian nation of 165 million people, is ranked the seventh most affected country in the world by climate disasters, and spiking temperatures will only make the situation worse. Mass migration from coastal areas to urban cities inland is already on the way as rising seas envelop the low elevation nation, with as many as 30 million people climate refugees in the coming decades. Developed nations agreed in 2009 that they will contribute $100 billion annually to help developing ones deal with the effects of climate change and transform their energy system. Rich countries, however, have failed on their promises so far, with the pledges expected to fall short by about $75 billion between 2020 to 2025. Ethiopia is now at crossroads with 2 forces, the Tigray People's Liberation Force, that's TPLF, and the Oromo Liberation Army, OLA, waging an infinite war with the federal government led by Abiy Ahmed. William Davison, a senior analyst with the International Crisis Group, said the war has intensified, especially out of the Tigray region, and is now becoming a national concern. This is after the federal government declared a state of emergency. Davison further said that he thinks the key thing to understand is that the war is outside of the Tigray region primarily. Since July, the Tigray forces have been on the offensive into the Rama region, and indeed they've been making significant gains. So this is the state of emergency that has been enacted. It's a national state of emergency, and it's really in response to the fact that since July, those who forces have been on the offensive and now are really in position to seriously threaten the federal government. Meanwhile, Ethiopia's prime minister has made it clear that he's not backing down. He has thus called for civilians to join the army in defending their homes against the Tigrayan and Oromo forces. The TPLF, which has been fighting Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's government for a year, has claimed significant territorial gains in recent days, along with its ally, the Oromo Liberation Army. Algeria has blamed its arch-rival Morocco, of killing true Algerians on the desert highway as tensions heighten between the neighbors over the disputed Western Sahara. Algeria's presidency said in a statement quoted by the APS state news agency, 3 Algerians were assassinated in a barbaric strike on their trucks. It reported they have been traveling between the Mauritania capital northeast to the Algerian city of Ouargla, and the statement added several factors indicate that the Moroccan occupation forces in Western Sahara carried out this cowardly assassination with a sophisticated weapon. Killings will not go unpunished. Morocco did not immediately comment on the accusation. The stated killings took place on Monday, but limited facts had come up and there had been no instant comments from Algiers or Rabat. The Algeria statement did not specify the place of the strike. Mauritania has said the death did not take place on its territory. The Algerian statement did not state what arms were used, but Morocco in September took delivery of Turkish-made Barakat combat drones, according to a private military news website. United Nations Secretary General Antonio has cautioned that the situation in Western Sahara significantly deteriorated over the past year. On Friday, the UN Secretary Council for a new peace talks in a resolution Algeria slammed as fundamentally unbalanced. These are the stories for today. We encourage you to join us on the next program, the Midday Show Live, as we bring you more activities happening in other countries. We will be expecting you to tune in so that you can watch it and contribute with us, even live on our Facebook and YouTube page. My name is Joyce Yakwari. Thank you for watching.